Interesting matchup here. Of course, Pavlyuchenkova coming off a long losing streak, and Eala trying to get some wins on clay. I'm going to go with Eala in 3 sets. I reckon she'll get it done in the end. She has had a couple of tough roads and a couple of tough opponents in the last few matches, so I'm going to go with her in 3. And she has the the favorite, I guess, or the higher ranked player in this matchup on this surface. Like I said, she has made a final of a French Open before, and before this week, hadn't won a match for a while. So using that confidence, winning a couple matches in a row, hopefully will give her some hope.
After days of speculation, finally Alex Eala's opponent has been confirmed, and it is Pavlyuchenkova. Pavlyuchenkova has won the qualifiers, but unfortunately would have to face Alex Eala in the first match, and she is regretting this draw especially in the first round. Experts have declared that Alex Eala is the clear favorite to win the match, and that does not sit well with Pavlyuchenkova, who is looking for redemption, but it does not seem like she is getting any redemption at all. Let us set the scene properly, because this story is bigger than just one match. Pavlyuchenkova went through the grind of qualifying, fought her way through multiple rounds just to earn her spot in the main draw of the Madrid Open 2026. And then the moment that draw was released, instant regret hit her like a wall, because standing on the other side of the net in her very first match is none other than Alex Eala. Not in the third round, not in the quarterfinals, round 1 right out of the gate. And the tennis world has been buzzing ever since. Now, let us talk about who Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova actually is, because this is not some pushover player we are discussing. Pavlyuchenkova is a seasoned professional with decades of experience on the WTA Tour. She has been ranked inside the top 10 in the world. She reached the final of the French Open in 2021, one of the most prestigious Grand Slam stages in the sport, and she pushed all the way to that final on clay, which is exactly the surface they will be competing on in Madrid. She has wins over some of the biggest names in women's tennis across her career.
She knows how to compete.
She knows how to grind, and she knows how to perform on the big stage. So, for a player of her background and her pedigree to be described as the underdog, to have experts openly declaring that her opponent is the clear favorite, that tells you everything you need to know about where Alex Eala stands right now in the eyes of the tennis community. And the experts are not whispering this opinion quietly. They're saying it loudly and clearly. Alex Eala is the favorite for this match. When you look at the current form, when you look at the trajectory, when you look at every single factor surrounding this specific tournament, it is almost impossible to argue against that assessment. Pavlyuchenkova came through qualifying, which means she has already been spending energy on court before the main draw even started. She has been battling through matches while Eala has been preparing fresh, focusing entirely on her game and doing so alongside one of the greatest coaches and mentors the sport has ever produced. Let us talk about that, because the Rafael Nadal training partnership is a storyline that simply cannot be ignored when analyzing any clay court tournament involving Alex Eala. Rafael Nadal is the greatest clay court player in the history of tennis. His understanding of the surface, his tactical approach, his movement patterns, his mental framework for competing on clay, all of that knowledge is being transferred directly to Eala through their training sessions. When you are preparing for a clay court event in Spain, and your training partner is the man who built his entire legend on that exact surface in that exact country, you are not walking into the tournament at a disadvantage. You are walking in with a blueprint that most players on the tour could only dream about accessing. And then there is the home factor. Madrid is not just a tournament stop for Alex Eala. It is deeply personal. She has been training at the Rafael Nadal Academy in Mallorca since she was young. Spain shaped her as a player. The clay courts of Spain are the courts where she developed her game, where she learned the sport from the ground up. When she steps onto the courts in Madrid, she is not a visitor. She is coming home. That comfort, that familiarity, that mental ease of competing in an environment that feels natural rather than foreign, it removes pressure that most players carry without even realizing it. Eala plays with freedom in Spain. She plays without fear, and in professional tennis, that fearless mindset is one of the most powerful weapons a player can carry. Now, add to all of it the fact that Eala has 0 points to defend at this year's Madrid Open. She is playing with house money. Every single win she earns is pure bonus points going straight into her rankings. There is no weight of expectation, no mental burden of having to match a previous result just to stay in place. She can go all in from the very first point, play aggressive attacking tennis, take her shots, and express her game without restriction. That is a position of enormous psychological freedom, and it could not be more different from where Pavlyuchenkova finds herself after grinding through qualifying just to land this matchup. Let us look at the broader picture of Eala's 2025 season, because context matters here. Yes, she has had a couple of difficult outings heading into Madrid. That is accurate. But here is what the people focused on those recent results are missing. Her overall numbers this season, even accounting for those tough tournaments, are tracking ahead of the same point in her breakout season last year. That is not a step back. That is growth. That is a player developing in real time, absorbing lessons from difficult matches and continuing to build towards something significant. The trajectory is pointing upward, and Madrid sits right in the path of that trajectory at exactly the right moment. And the wins on her resume this season are not minor footnotes. She defeated Coco Gauff, a Grand Slam champion, a former world number one of the most dangerous and athletic players on the entire WTA Tour. Beating Coco Gauff is not something that happens by accident. You do not get that result without having genuine elite-level weapons in your game and the mental composure to execute them when it matters most. She also handled Siegmund, one of the most experienced and crafty competitors on the circuit, a player who has troubled countless top professionals throughout her career. These results tell a story about who Alex Eala is becoming, and that story is one of a player who belongs at the top of the conversation. The validation has come from the very highest levels of the sport as well. Novak Djokovic, a man who has spent 2 decades at the absolute summit of professional tennis and who understands greatness from the inside, has publicly called Alex Eala the greatest tennis player to ever come from the Philippines. When one of the most decorated athletes in the history of the sport singles you out by name and places you in that kind of historical context, that is not a compliment you take lightly. That is a statement of belief from someone whose opinion carries more weight in tennis than almost anyone on the planet. So, here is where everything stands for Pavlyuchenkova. She qualified. She earned her spot. She put in the work to get to the main draw. And then the tennis gods handed her Alex Eala in round 1. A player who is operating with home court energy, 0 points to defend, Nadal's clay court wisdom in her corner, elite wins over Gauff and Siegmund already on her record this season, and the full backing of the expert community as the clear favorite. The regret is understandable. The situation is genuinely difficult. Pavlyuchenkova is a champion with a career full of proud moments, but right now, walking into this specific match against this specific opponent on this specific surface in this specific city, the numbers and the narratives are not on her side. Eala's side of the bracket has also drawn attention beyond just this first-round matchup. Analysts who have broken down the full draw point out that the path ahead is comparatively open compared to the other half. Projected second-round opponents are not at their sharpest right now. The early rounds present a genuine realistic opportunity to build momentum, stack wins, and gain confidence round by round in front of crowds that will be cheering her name. In Madrid, she is not just a competitor. She is a fan favorite, and that energy feeds everything. Pavlyuchenkova wanted redemption when she won qualifying. She wanted to prove herself in a main draw environment and remind the tour that she still belongs. But the draw had other plans. Now, she walks into match 1 staring across the net at the player the experts have declared the favorite for her entire side of the bracket, on clay in Spain with nothing to lose. Instant regret does not even begin to cover it. So, we want to hear from you, because this conversation is just getting started. Do you think Pavlyuchenkova ever imagined that after grinding through qualifying, she would be rewarded with Alex Eala in round 1 on clay in Spain? Do you believe the regret is real, or does she have enough fight and experience to pull off a massive upset? Can her Grand Slam final pedigree be enough to overcome everything working against her in this matchup, or is Eala simply too locked in right now? And how far do you see Eala going in this tournament after she clears this first round? Is Madrid 2026 the tournament that finally cements her as a true elite force on the WTA Tour? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.